Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is T of the FTK Crochet brand, and today we are going to be making the tutorial for this beautiful skirt. It is a step-by-step detailed tutorial, so it is beginner friendly. I used an acrylic yarn to create this one. That's why you don't see a lot of bouncing going on, which I would have preferred. But if you want yours bouncier, I will advise you go for a lightweight cotton yarn. But either ways, it will still come out as beautiful. I used the granny stitch on this one, so without further ado, let us get into today's tutorial. Okay, so for this project, these are the materials that you are going to need. You are going to need your yarn, of course. I'm using the yellow and the cream color this time around on this one. And you are going to need your measurement tape, very important. You are going to need your tapestry needle. You are going to need some stitch markers. You're going to need your scissors. And on this project, I'm going to be working with a 4.5mm hook size. All right, so let us get into it. Okay, so the measurement you are going to need for this one is going to be your hips measurement and the length that you want your skirt to be on. All right, so my hips now is 42. The one I'm making now, the hips, I'm going to be making 42 for the hips. All right, so I'm going ahead now to make a chain that will be up to 42 inches. All right, so you go ahead now to take your hips measurement and do a chain that is exactly that. Okay, so I'm done with my chain, and I forgot to mention, if you are making your chain, please make it in multiples of 4. All right, because we are working with the granny stitch this time around. All right, so for my own chain, I ended up making 120 chains. Like I told you, I'm making the hips to be 42. And we need it to go through the hips. That's why we are going to be starting with the hip measurement on this chain. All right. So now we are going to be walking all around in circles. So what you are going to do now, you are going to fold your chain, and on the very last stitch right here, you are going to go in there. I've already done mine. Okay, and make sure when you are trying to bring your chain together, make sure you make it straight, because you don't want it rolling up just like that. All right, so go into the very last stitch right here and do a slip stitch on that very last stitch. All right, so now to begin the row 1, you are going to chain up 3, 1, 2 and 3, and on that same stitch where you did your slip stitch, now you're going to be going in there with 2 more double crochet to create our first cluster, because the chain 3 is going to be serving as 1 double crochet, so 2 more double crochet now gives us our first cluster. All right, so now you are going to chain up 1 and skip 3 stitches, 1, 2, 3, and on the 4th stitch you are going to be going in there with a cluster. That's 3 double crochet in 1 stitch. That is what is going to give you the cluster we are using on this one. 2 and 3, and then chain up 1, skip 3 stitches, 1, 2, 3, and on the 4th one go in there with a cluster. 1, 2 and 3. So this is the pattern you are going to be following for the entire row 1. All right, chain 1, skip 3 stitches, and on the 4th stitch you go in with a cluster until you get to the beginning again here. And when I get here, I'll come back to tell you what you're going to be doing next. All right, okay, so I'm at the end of the row 1 now. I'm just going to show you how I end it here. So as you can see, I have 3 chain stitches left, 1, 2, 3. So you're just going to chain up 1, which I already did, and you're going to do a slip stitch on the chain 3 that we started with right here to end this row. All right, and now to start on the row 2, you are going to chain up 3, 1, 2 and 3, then turn your work to the other side just like this. All right, and on this same space now, you are going to be going in there with 2 more double crochets plus the chain 3 is going to give us our very first cluster on this row. All right, this is an increase row. So what we are going to be doing now, we are going to be putting in 3 clusters and we will increase in the 4th space. All right, so now this is 1 already, and now you're going to chain up 1, and on the next space you're going to go in there with a cluster, 1, 2 and 3, then chain up 1 again, and on the next space you are going to go in there with a cluster, 1, 2 and 3. So now on this very 4th space, now after having 3 clusters, we're going to be doing our first increase on the 4th space. So to do this increase, you are going to chain up 1 as usual, and now this space you are going to be going in there with a cluster, 1, 2 and 3, and now you are going to chain up 2, and on that same space you are just going to go in there with another cluster, 2 and then 3. All right, so this is our very first increase. So what you are going to do now, you are going to go into the next chain up 1 and go into the next space now with a cluster, 1, 2 and 3, and then you are going to chain up 1 again, and into the next space you are just going to go in there with a cluster. So this is what you are going to keep doing on this row 2 now. All right, so what you do 3 clusters and you increase on the 4th space, 3 clusters and you increase on the 4th space until you get to the end here, and when I get here I'll come back to show you what you're going to be doing next. All right. Okay, so I'm at the end of the row 2. I just want to show you how I end it here. All right, so as you can see, I did the last increase here and I only got 2 clusters before the end here. Okay, so it doesn't really matter if you end up with 3, if you end up with 2, it doesn't really matter. Okay, but to end it here, you are going to go into the space where you started from. Now you are going to go in there with a cluster, so chain up 1, and then into the space right here you are going to be going in there with 3 double crochet to create a cluster, because that is going to be our last increase for the row. All right, and then you are going to chain up 2, and on that chain 3 where you started from, you are going to be going in there with a slip stitch to end the row. All right, so this is the end of the row 2. So here I'm going to be switching my yarn to the next color. So this one I'm going to be cutting off my yellow color now, and I'm going to be introducing my cream color. All right, I'll just tie this one off. All right, so you are going to turn your work to the other side now. So you see this space now where we ended, this particular space, that is where you are going to reattach your new yarn. But that is if you are changing colors. If you are not changing colors, all you just need to do is just do a slip stitch, chain 3, and turn your work and just keep doing what you're doing. Okay, so here now you are going to chain up 3 to start up the row 3, 2 and 3, and on that same space you are just going to be going in there with 2 more double crochet, because this chain 3 is going to be serving as 1 double crochet to create our very first cluster right here. All right, so this row now is a non-increase row. All right, so we are just going to be working the normal clusters, chain 1 and go into the next space with another cluster, just that without any increase. All right, so the row 3 you do not do any increase. So chain up 1 and go in with a cluster, 2 and 3, chain up 1 and go in with a cluster, 1, 2, and 3, and then chain up 1. You see where we did the increase here, this chain 2 space. Now you're going to be going in there with a regular cluster. 1, 2, and 3, and then you're going to chain up 1, and on the next space you just go in there with a cluster. So this is what you are going to follow for this entire row. All right, keep putting in clusters all around this row without increase. Okay, and when I get here, I'll come back to show you what we're going to be doing next. Okay. Okay, so I'm at the end of the row 3 now, and this is how it's looking. So to end this row 3 now, what you are just going to do, you are going to chain up 1 and do a slip stitch and the chain 3 that you started from here. Okay, to end this row. All right, so now to start on the row 4, you are going to chain up 3, 1, 2, and 3. This is our second increase row. All right. So now on this same space now where you did the chain 3 from, you are going to be putting in 2 more double crochet on that space, and plus the chain 3 is going to be our first cluster. All right, and then you're going to chain up 1, and on the next space you are going to be going in there with a cluster. 2 and 3, and then you're going to chain up 1 again, and on the next space you are going to be going in there with a cluster. 2 and 3, and then you're going to chain up 1, and on this next space you are going to be going in there with a cluster. So this row, the increase for this row is going to be 4 clusters and increased on the 5th space. Okay, you know the row 2 we did 3 clusters and increase on the 4th space. Okay, so now we are going to be doing 4 clusters and increasing on the 5th space. So now we have 1, 2, 3, 4 clusters. We are going to be increasing on this 5th space now. Okay, so now chain up 1, and on the space you are just going to be going in there with a cluster. 2 and 3, and then you're going to chain up 2, 1, 2, and on that same space you're going to be going in there with another cluster. And 3. All right, so now this is the pattern you are going to be following for the row 4. All right, so you count 4 clusters and increase in 5th space. Okay, so now you are going to be going into the next space now with a cluster. So you chain up just 1, and on the next space you are just going to go there with 1 cluster. 2, 3, and on the next space chain up 1 and go in there with a cluster. 2 and 3. So when you have 4 clusters, you are going to increase again just like we did here on the 5th space. So do that all around, and I will meet you here when I'm done with my row. Okay, okay, so I'm at the end of the row 4 now. So I just want to show you how I end the row 4. It's exactly how we did the ending on the row 2. So what you're just going to do now, you're just going to chain up 1. So you see this space where you started with the first cluster, you are going to be going into that same cluster with 3 double crochet to create a cluster. 2 and 3, because this is going to be the last increase for this row. All right, and now you are going to chain up 2 and then do a slip stitch on the chain 3 that you started with right here. All right, and then I'm just going to chain up 1 and cut off this yarn because I'm going to be switching back to the yellow yarn. So as you can see, I am doing 2 rows of each of the colors, but this is what I want. It's not compulsory that you do exactly the same thing that I'm doing. All right, this is just how I'm playing with my colors. All right, so now I'm going to be reattaching my yellow yarn, so I'll turn my work to the other side now. So you see the space where we ended it now, this is where I'm going to be reattaching my yarn. All right, and now I'm going to chain up 3 to start this row. 1, 2, and 3. And on this same space now, I'm just going to go in there with 2 double crochet plus the chain 3 to make my first cluster on this row. So for this row 5 now, we are not doing any increase. So you go ahead now to just put 1 cluster in each of all of the spaces all around, and I'll meet you here when I'm done with my row. All right. Okay, so I'm at the end of the row 5 now. So I'm just going to do chain up 1 and do a slip stitch and the chain 3 right here to end this row. All right, so now to begin the row 6, you are going to chain up 3, 1, 2, and 3, then turn your work to the other side. So this row 6 is going to be our last row of increase. Okay, so on this same space now where you did the chain 3, you are just going to be going in there with 2 double crochet on that same space to create our first cluster. All right, so now you're going to chain up 1, and on the next space you're just going to be going in there with a cluster. Chain up 1, and on the next space you're just going to go there with 1 cluster. Chain up 1, and on the 4th space you are going to go in there with just 1 cluster. Chain up 1, and on this 5th space you are going to be going in there with the last cluster. So the count for the increase on this row is going to be 5 clusters and increase on the 6th space. All right, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 clusters, and we are going to be increasing on the 6th space now. Okay, so chain up 1 and then go in with a normal cluster first, 2 and 3, and then chain up 2, and on that same space you are just going to be going in there with another cluster on that same space, just like we've been doing. All right, so this row 6 now is going to be our last row of increase. Okay, so there is no more increase on the entire skirts. All right, so you go ahead now to complete the row 6 with the increase, and go ahead to do your normal rows of non-increase until you get to the length that you want. All right, so I'm just going to go off camera now to do my own, and when I'm done I'll come back to show you how many rows I end up doing and what we are going to be doing next. All right. Okay, so I'm done with my rows, and I ended up putting 26 rows. But like I told you, you can decide to make yours longer or you can decide to make yours shorter. I might even end up adding more rows to my own, but for now I'm going to stop here because we need to work on the band area. All right, so let us get into that. Okay, so to start on the band, you can just reattach your yarn at the back right here. Okay, this is where I'm reattaching my yarn, but you can go ahead to reattach it anywhere around, but I like putting all of my beginnings and ends on one part so we know that it's just one side, one area that we are ending everything. All right. So now to start on the band area, you're just going to be putting reattaching your yarn here and chain up 3, 1, 2, and 3. And on this first space here now, you are going to be going with 2 more double crochet on that space. All right, so now you are going to be skipping this cluster, and without a chain 1, you're just going to yarn over and go into the next space, and you add 3 double crochet on that space, just like that. And then you skip the cluster again, then go into the next space with 3 double crochet. there is no chain one on this band area. Please do not chain one, okay? So yarn over, skip the cluster and go into the next space with 3 double crochet. 2 and 3, yarn over, go into the next space with 3 double crochet. So this is the pattern you are going to be following for this row 1 on the band until you get to the end here. And when I get here, I'll come back to show you what we're going to be doing next. All right. Okay, so I'm at the end of the row 1 now. So to end this row now, you're just going to make a slip stitch on the very third chain that we made in the beginning to begin the row. Okay, so you just do a slip stitch there, and now we are now going to be turning our work to the other side. So to start on the row 2 now, you're just going to chain up 3, 1, 2 and 3. So this time around we are going to be doing front post and back post to make the band. So that is the stitch we are going for. All right, so yarn over the very first stitch here. Now you are going to be doing a front post on that stitch. All right, and now the next stitch you are going to be doing a back post on that stitch, back post double crochet. All right, and the next stitch you do a front post double crochet, and on the next you do a back post double crochet. I do hope you know how to do the front post and the back post double crochet. If not, okay, let me take it slowly. All right, so now on the next stitch we need to do a front post. So you yarn over. So instead of going to the regular stitch right here, you're going to be going from the bottom. Please just watch what I'm doing and take the stitch up like this and do a double crochet just like this. All right, and then now we are going for a back post on the next stitch. All you need to do is yarn over. So you go through the back now and take the stitch from the back just like this, and then yarn over and do a double crochet just like this. All right, so this is what you're going to be doing for this row all around, and I'll meet you here. All right. Okay, so I'm at the end of the row 2, yeah. All right, so to end on this row now, I'm just going to be doing a slip stitch on the chain 3 that we made to begin the row. All right, so now to begin the row 3, you are just going to chain up 3, 1, 2 and 3. So now the front post that you did in the previous row, you are going to be doing a front post on that stitch, and the back post that you did on the previous row, you are going to be doing a back post on that stitch. So that is the pattern for this row 2. Okay, so the front post gets a front post again just like this, and then the back post gets a back post again just like this. So the front post gets a front post and the back post gets a back post. So that is going to be the entire pattern for the band that we are creating now. All right, so now you go ahead to do exactly the same thing that I just showed you. So the front post gets a front post, the back post gets a back post, just like that all around. When you get here again, you do a slip stitch on the chain 3 you started with, and you begin with the front post getting the front post and the back post getting the back post until you get to the length that you want for the band of your skirts. All right, so I'm going to go off camera now to create the length of the band that I want, and I'll come back to tell you how many I end up making and what we're going to be doing next. Okay, so I'm done putting in the rows I needed for my band, and I ended up putting 5 rows altogether. All right, and as you can see, I went ahead to do the drawstring for it as well. I just chained up 150 using the exact color that I've been using for this project. So I mixed it together. That is what gave me this pretty thing. All right, so you know, when we started it, we used the hips measurement. So by the time it goes through your hips, it will be too open on top here, so we want it to sit on the waist. That's why you either need a drawstring or you go with an elastic band, but this time around I'm going with the drawstring. That's why you're seeing this one here. So as you can see, I already put it in, I already laced it in, and this is how it's looking. All right, so this is how the full project is looking. But I would advise that you go with a soft cotton yarn for this skirts. All right, using acrylic is not the best choice, even though this one still came out very nicely. But it would have been finer if I used this drapey kind of soft cushy cotton yarn. All right, so with this we've come to the end of today's tutorial, and if you enjoy watching this video as much as I enjoy making it, be sure to like the video, all right, and share it to your friends and family who wants to make something as gorgeous as this. All right, so if you've not subscribed to my channel before now, please do so now. All right, and if you have any questions about this project, feel free to drop it on the comment section and I will be happy to help. All right, so until next time, bye bye.